This episode is brought to you by ChiefAIOfficer.com. Most companies know AI can slash costs and free up teams, but they get stuck on the first step. ChiefAIOfficer.com can identify your highest value use cases, train your people, and build the workflows that do the work for you. Book your free private 15-minute executive briefing by going to ChiefAIOfficer.com and scheduling a call. You'll leave with a clear, no-jargon roadmap for your goals. Now, enjoy the show. And a quick note before we start this episode. Starting August 29th through October 29th, we're actually taking our AI Executive Immersion on the road. This is a free, half-day, in-person, no-fluff workshop for executives of lower middle market and above-sized companies. You'll leave with a 90-day plan, a simple AI policy and guardrails, and a personal AI stack that gives you hours back every week. If you'd like to bring your executive team at no cost, go to ChiefAIOfficer.com/roadshow to see the dates and locations where we'll be. Seats are limited to keep it hands-on. Hopefully this is an opportunity for us to meet in person and for you to learn exactly how we're teaching busy executives to take advantage of AI in their role and across their companies. Now, let's start the episode. Welcome to Using AI at Work. I'm your host, Chris Daigle. Each week, we'll be learning how today's business owners, entrepreneurs, and ambitious professionals are getting more done with smart use of tomorrow's tech. Let's get started. Hi, everybody, and welcome to an episode of Using AI at Work. And today, we're going to be talking about AI with Steff Vanhaverbeke. Steff she just shared with me that she's about to release a book, which we're going to be talking about. But Steff, before we get started, if you don't mind, take a moment and just kind of share with the audience like what you're doing in AI today.
Today, I give a lot of training courses, do a lot of workshops with people in businesses who want to adopt AI. So that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
Well, then you're talking to the right people because the people here want to learn how to use AI. Before we talk, I definitely want to go into that and what the experiences are like working with clients and kind of like what that whole paradigm looks like in bringing AI into business. But I want to start with your book that you were telling me that it's about to come out. I'm fascinated with the subject of the book. So you mentioned the title was Being Replaced.
Yeah, Being Replaced.
Being Replaced. And I think that everybody listening probably knows the context of that, right?
Yeah.
But the subtitle of the book,
The 5 Human Skills That AI Cannot Automate. That's the subtitle.
You know, I think that's a big question for a lot of people because listeners to the podcast, I think, probably know a little bit more about AI than the average business person out there. And that's a concern. I just got off a podcast now, and that was how we wrapped it up. Like, who's safe, right? So I'm particularly interested in what those skills are, and fingers crossed I've got all 5 of them. So do you mind sharing kind of the thesis of the book?
Yeah, of course. Well, let me just start with how the book came to be. Maybe it's not something, because I said in our pre-talk, I said, in the past few weeks I've been working on a book, but the book was already a couple of years in the making, of course, and it's in the making because of the conversations that I've had during all that time with people in business, and the anxiety that lives among people who just will love to do their job, and then there's this thing, AI, that's going to replace me. So it's there's a lot of concern there, and it's a valid concern, of course.
Agreed.
And then I started to think, that's all. AI can do a lot of things, and it can be an accelerator, and I have a whole story about that as well. But then I started, what are the answers that some of the things that we can hold on to as human beings that not only will never probably be replaced by AI, but will actually make the big differences for businesses in the foreseeable future. So, and that's how I came to this framework, which I call the cognitive agility framework.
I like it.
And of course, you have some words there. It's cognition, so it's how does our brain work, and it's agility. How can you be agile in a changing environment? And a framework, meaning that it's something. It has a couple of components, 5 to be exact, and so it's something that we can use as a person, as a company, as teams, also to leverage our human potential. And if we look at it in that way, actually, AI sets us free instead of replacing us. So
Yes.
that's the core message of the book.
Yes, I totally see the inspirational elements of that approach to things. Do you mind walking us through kind of the areas that you see, or the cognitive capabilities that you see that AI is not going to replace and that we should be developing as modern day business people?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, right off the bat, the first principle or the first skill that we have as humans is flexible thinking. And what do I mean by this? Our brain works in a totally different way than a machine does, meaning our brain is embodied. So we have this corporal entity that we are. And so our brain has senses. It has a way to flip the switch easily from deep work and then doing dreaming and being all over the place somewhere else and going back and forth between those different modes, neural network modes that our brain is able to handle. And that's something that a computer is not very well equipped to do. Even large language models, and I'm sure that a lot of us have been accustomed to working with AI and asking AI to do some things, and that these large language models basically are very rigid in their cognition. Once they're on a particular path, it's very difficult to move them elsewhere. So, and this is the first thing. So flexible thinking, and I break it down into 3 subcomponents. First of all, it's critical thinking. Critical thinking is a cognitive ability that is that never has been as important as it is today, because everything that AI generates in terms of images, but also in terms of text and information. Some people really believe that AI is something that comes from aliens or something divine, which of course is not. And it only shows how people are just not seeing AI for what it really is. It's compute. It's just a prediction model.
Yes.
Based on pattern recognition. And that's it, and of course it can emulate the way we think very, very nicely. But it's not real cognition. It's not really understanding. So critical thinking is first, and then second sub element in that part is creative thinking. And that's the way we can imagine things, that we can come up with totally new things. And why do I use these 2 elements? Because before this, I did a lot of work in doing workshops around innovation and change. What I always thought is that critical thinking and creative thinking are two sides of the same coin. It does not go without the other. And so that's why I put them also in the framework. Like, these are the 2 core elements. And then you have systems thinking. Systems thinking, which has long been the underdog of management theory, but it is becoming of utmost relevance. And I've heard you worked with Shell, so I'm sure that you're familiar with scenario thinking and all these things which are based in systems theory. And so systems thinking is a skill that we need to develop, to see the the relationships between the parts. Not only see the parts from what they are, but see the relationships and the how the system works. and go a bit deeper below the surface, so to say. And that's something that an AI cannot do. The AI only sees the surface. There's a whole lot of information that is invisible to AI and will probably be always invisible to AI. Let me just clarify with an example.
Yeah.
So imagine you're sick, you're going to the emergency room in a hospital, and then you expect, the caregiver to do some diagnosis, hearing, seeing, using some instruments. But it's not only what is being diagnosed that is information. It's also how have you come? Are you alone? Are you with somebody? What is your state of mind? What is your physical state? What is your emotional state? And these are all things that are very difficult for an AI to understand or even to detect. The unspoken information.
Yeah.
Which is just there because it's there. And as human, we have our senses and our ability to sense the unspoken things, which is very hard for an AI to do. So, and that's why, AI is blind for a lot of the information that is innately with us as human beings. That's the first thing. So, critical thinking, creative thinking, systems thinking, and the flexibility that we have to switch from one to another. So, and then there are 4 more parts.
If you're comfortable sharing, I know the book hasn't come out
yet. Of course. Yeah. So the second part of the cognitive agility framework is emotional intelligence, the ability to have to feel what another person feels. And I don't have to draw a whole lot of pictures to understand that an AI is just incapable of feeling, really feeling. And the thing is that AI, the large language models and the system prompts that are written around these large language models are written in such a way that these AI agents or the AI tools, the chatbots, are very accommodating. They are really very positive and very, they always seem enthusiastic and, helpful. And it seems like that's emotional intelligence, but it's just simulation. It's not real. It's not a real person. They cannot sense what's really going on. They have no empathy. And you can easily trick them, by the way, these chatbots. So if you have some time left, you should go and play with that a little bit. Yeah. There's one of these chat GPT, these custom GPTs, and it's called Negative Nancy. And it's really fun because, instead of being accommodating, Negative Nancy is very critical, and so you can really, have this illusion that there's an intelligent being on the other side of your screen, but it's not. So emotional intelligence, and the example that I often talk about is, well, it's from my personal life, and last year my father passed, so he was in the last 2 years of his life he was paralyzed from the neck down. So he had no real future no more. There's no vision anymore of what to do with his life and everything. And here in Belgium we have this ability to euthanize people. So he applied for that, and at first it was rejected because this was still some chance for recovery, and we'll see. But after 2 years, it was very apparent that recovery was out of the question. And he had no touch in his hands. He had no taste anymore at the end. And life for him was nothing more than pain and struggle every day.
Yeah.
And so at the end, the procedure was approved, and he passed.
Yeah.
And of course, that was for us as the family a very tumultuous time, but also kind of a release for I came to peace with it. I was in peace, with the fact that this was his decision. He chose for it and everything like that. And it was for him, it was a release.
Yeah.
Now, as I'm telling the story, for a lot of people that will evoke emotions.
Yes.
It evokes emotions with me, with my family members, if we reflect on that, but also with other people. And that is something that an AI can never do. They can never have a real sense of what it means to lose a parent, but also what it means to see your own father or parent or mother suffering every day. So, and we can imagine a world where everything is highly optimized by AI, that this ability will truly make a difference.
Yeah.
You'll
still be able to check authenticity in that capacity.
Yeah, it comes down to authenticity and deep understanding and having a sense. And let's imagine again the emergency room where you get to when you have something and you want to get help. I would not appreciate having to, explain everything to a chatbot.
Yeah.
I want a real person there who really can understand me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we pull that thread all the way through, we can imagine a world where a lot of the first line assistance will be provided by AI, chatbots, agents, whatever.
Yeah.
When it really comes down to it, you want a real person to be there to help you.
Customer service, maybe not so much, but a situation like this, 100%.
Yeah. And most of the time, like when you get into a store and there's somebody there already, nagging you, can I help you, madam or sir, Yeah, at first you say, go away. I will, I'm here just to explore or to browse or whatever. And after a while, you won't help.
Good point.
So after a while, and then you want a personal assistant. You want somebody, there, literally somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 2.
And then there's the third element. And the third element is collaborative intelligence, is the intelligence that we have as a group. It's the ability of a group or a team to pull together when all things fail. And the example that I wrote in the book was just something that happened here in Belgium a few weeks ago. We have this festival. It's well known. It's called Tomorrowland. I've probably heard of it. It's this big, how to say, music festival.
Yes.
And you have a lot of DJs going from all over, and hundreds of thousands of people gather. And 2 days before the opening, the main stage just literally burned down to the ground. It was nothing more than ashes and cinders. And what happened? So everybody thought, this is disaster. There's no way that this festival will happen 2 days before grand opening. Well, they opened, but what did they do? They pulled in resources, people from all over the world. Everybody wanted to help, and they got a big screens, and they got a whole new installation. I think it was from Metallica or something. Somebody gave them the whole kit, and said, "Go, just use that." And the whole world became a community just to make this festival happen.
Yeah.
So, and in 2 days' time, they shipped over from all over the world the things that they needed to hold the festival, and people said it was the best festival in years.
Nice.
Even though the glamorous stage wasn't there as it was foreseen. And that's something that we people have, and that we always had. We as a species we were able to to hunt the biggest animals out there because we are able to communicate quickly, shift gears to, from one strategy, shift to another. And that's what we have as a collective. So it's collective and collaborative intelligence, and that is innately human. And we can imagine a world where people will work with AI agents, and there will be, to some degree, parts of this collaborative intelligence there, but not the same way as a group of people can do.
Yeah.
And then there's a fourth element, and that's intuition. And how does that work? Well, the story that I tell in the book was something that I heard a couple of years ago. It was about an entrepreneur and an investor, and he heard about this small company which was doing very good, but at the one hand, but also struggling at the other hand, like many startups do when become successful. And he looked at that company and said, "No, I see the potential." So he just called the the owner of the company and said, let's get together somewhere and talk about the future of their company. And right off the bat, during that lunch meeting, let's say, he said, I want to buy your company, or want to have a big stake in your company. And the other one said, okay, well, what do you want to offer? And there and then, during that lunch meeting, they agreed on the price and everything. So everything was already decided. And then, of course, the lawyers and the accountants came in, and they just rubber stamped everything. They didn't, they weren't even allowed to say, oh, this is not a good idea. No. The idea was there, the conclusion was there, the deal was there already. They just had to rubber stamp everything. And that's something that we have as humans. We can have this conviction that something will succeed against all odds, maybe.
Yes.
Because we can see, sense, have this intuitive feeling.
Yeah.
That something will succeed, or could succeed. We are dreamers, and so that's our power, and that's something that in AI, and probably any version of AI that will come in the future, will never have. This gut feeling that something is possible, even though nobody believes it.
Yeah, intuition's not it can't predict that. Yeah, and that makes sense.
No. And then there's the fifth component, and that's innovation, the ability to innovate. It's a bit different than pure creativity, because you can be creative for the creativity. There's, do some art or something, but innovation is really bringing to the world something that is totally different, probably disruptive, and that changes the world fundamentally, or maybe in a small way or in a big way. And we see that's happening all the time, of course. And that's something that happens when people not only intuitively imagine things, but that they also create it. They bring it into the world. They prototype it. They test it. They tweak it, and up until you have something that works. And very often, and what we see is that when we try to have agents, because they do these tests, and Anthropic is very well known to run these tests, about giving some AI some agency, and see what happens when they really want to run a business, for instance. And what we see today is that they falter every time, because they lack these core elements.
Yep.
They lack the flexible thinking. They lack the emotional intelligence. They lack the collaborative ability. They lack intuition, but they also lack the ability to truly innovate and bring into the world something that is totally different than what we ever had before. And it's not just a rehashing of known patterns. And so that's how we close the loop. Because then we come again to flexibility and creativity, and so it's a wheel. It's something that's it's not just like a menu card. You pick and choose something. No, you have to do everything.
Yeah. I hope you're enjoying the episode. Did you know that while you're listening to this, competitors are already boosting EBITDA with generative AI? If you're still stuck in pilot mode, margin and market share are leaking every quarter. ChiefAIOfficer.com guides executive teams through the 3 moves they need to be doing: identifying the top AI plays that will lift revenue or slash costs within 90 days, de-risk adoption with team training, airtight governance, and change management best practice, and then building and deploying production-grade AI-powered tools. No extra headcount, full ROI tracking. The results? Operators at scale generative AI cut process costs 22% last year. Let's talk. Claim your free, private 15-minute executive briefing by going to ChiefAIOfficer.com and walk away with a board-ready roadmap. Slots fill fast, so lock yours in. Now, enjoy the rest of the episode.
Does the book give any advice on how these skills can be applied or enhanced in your role so that it becomes obvious? Or we could have an AI, push the button, move the email, whatever, but we want them on board because they are contributing at a level that we recognize AI can't do. Is there any advice for individuals on how to do that?
Yeah. Well, the book is full of examples and also some, very useful tools and things that you can do to develop these skills and to put them into practice with your team as well, or in your organization, or it could be just for yourself. But the whole premise of the book is actually, this is not a book about AI. It's a book about people, working with AI, and in a world where AI is abundant, is everywhere. The world of today and tomorrow, where you can imagine that every business to some degree will be using AI.
Yeah, agreed.
Could be for translation purposes or copywriting, or maybe it's doing some design stuff, or maybe automating some aspects of your business or whatever. Now, in such a world, how will you make a difference as a business? How will you make a difference as a person? It is not by just, doing what everybody else does. And the reason why I'm saying this is that the way the technology evolves right now is they make it very easy. It's never before in our existence have we had such powerful technology in the hands and the pockets of everybody, and it's free. Gemini is free.
Yeah.
ChatGPT you can use to a certain degree for free. So that is amazing. And the only thing that I can think of is, when the emergence of the internet, the World Wide Web, and we had suddenly access to all this information. Well, now we have access to compute, and that's basically pure power.
Yeah.
And it's very, very easy to fall into the trap, believing that we need to move faster in that world. Well, and that's the case that I make in the book. The economy of the future will not be for the business who is able to move the fastest, because that will be irrelevant.
Yeah.
Everybody will move very fast.
Yeah.
And have that ability. You can have, a teenager tinkering with NA10, and you're hiring him to automate big chunks of your business. You'll be the fastest, maybe for a minute or two. So what will make the difference? Well, the people, the companies are most human will make the difference.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because what we forget is that we all have compute. We all have compute power, but it's on a whole other level than what the AI can do. And sometimes we forget this. We're dazzled by the new GPT-5 and new agent here, a new ability there. And it's all shiny and great and wonderful. How will you make the difference?
Yeah. So not only, I guess, the businesses that are human will get distinguished in the marketplace, but the businesses that are seen as more human, they can't be fully automated, agentified businesses. They have to require people. So, okay, this makes a lot of sense. What's going to happen? Because that's obviously not going to be every business, and not every business is going to. They might be okay with synthetic, right? Like, oh, it's close enough to human for us to go to market, or us to ship, or us to take on clients. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there will end up being, oh, everybody's going to keep their job because of these 5 factors. There's going to be some recalibration of what qualifies you as a viable employee or service provider or vendor. So an interesting topic. There's I didn't think we were gonna be able to get into that. When I heard the title of the book, I thought it was gonna be roles or like tactical skills that would be like, oh, if I can learn how to do this, I'll keep my job. But that's not it at all. Something that we all have access to today. There's no new upskilling required. Perhaps learning how to make sure that your personal brand, I guess, is recognized as part of that authentic effort or authentic movement that's going to be the difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody's talking now about AI slop. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And I see it everywhere, and everybody sees it. And for people who, I shouldn't say who it is, but let's say some people in my circles, they often, send me these, little shorts, or whatever, reels, that they picked up from wherever. And say, is this real?
Because they can't tell the difference between if a human did it or if it was like a HeyGen avatar.
Yeah. But you can still, point them out. But we can imagine a moment where we will not be able to distinguish.
Yeah.
But the AI slop is a big problem. One of the things that people are really looking for is authenticity. And I'm Belgian. So, and if there's something that Belgium is very famous for, it's for beer. Let's make an analogy. The beers in Belgium that are most appreciated are not the beers that everybody all over the world is drinking. Not even left,
Yeah.
The beers that we prefer come from what we call microbreweries. And so they are very small enterprises. Some friends or, some family members, some brothers or some sisters even, whatever, they brew their own beers and they market them very locally. And they're very different in character and taste and everything. And they're very highly regarded, very much appreciated and very popular. And then you have these, AB InBev, Interbrew beers, like Stella Artois and all these, and Heineken and all these. Okay, people drink them, but they're not as much appreciated as the artisanal beers. So I can imagine that in a world where everything is AI slop, people will look for the products and or the services that are human, that has this human element in it, that are authentic.
So let me ask you, I believe that you can, but in your opinion, can you leverage AI for the scale and speed to deliver the authenticity, to support the delivery of the authenticity, not replace it?
Yes, for sure. And that's also, I'm not against AI. I'm for AI.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy working with AI. I even my book that I wrote, I used AI for it, and I explicitly say how I used AI in it. But AI still is a tool, and that's what some of us often forget. And when we can imagine, and of course, the big tech entrepreneurs, they all dream up this world where, everything is AI and everything is, handled by AI. And there's this big, wonderful world where we don't have to do anything anymore. Well, I got news for you.
Yeah.
The thing with people is, people invent work.
Yes. Good point. Yeah.
They always come up with something that we can do, and we will leverage AI to do it, but we will do it in a way that is totally unexpected, and that's our power, and that will never go away.
Yeah.
We are so creative in inventing work.
This is such a like you and I, we use AI on a daily basis. As you mentioned, you love AI. I love AI. But I don't think much beyond its application and what I'm doing. I use it strategically to help with planning and ideation on bigger picture stuff. We use it tactically throughout the business. And it's just become almost natural usage for me. If you're familiar with Ethan Malik and his concept of the cyborg, it's a seamless activity that I do. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go do AI later. Like, I don't spend a lot of time trying to forecast what's going to happen on the macro, like the global stage, because A, it's a big question. B, nobody knows. And I think you just brought up a good example of that. Even if AI could do it, well, maybe I like the activity of doing that. So sure, I could use it. Maybe I'll use AI tomorrow, but today I'm going to roll up my sleeves and do whatever that thing is. So it's nice to have the conversation, especially the perspectives, because I think it's going to be a topic like AI's efficacy well established at this point. Even if some of the listeners are new to it, talk to somebody who's been using the tool for 3 months, right? They're going to say, it changed my life. So that's not the question, but I think that, so the conversation, the narrative in the marketplace, I fully expect to start to shift to, but what does this mean? What does this mean for people, parenting, for kids in college, or who are, going to like, what should they study? Like, all those things are changing. And I'm not big into the guesswork anyway. I'd rather just go and do the thing. So this is nice to have this conversation. Now, I'd like to shift gears a little bit, because not every one of our guests works as closely with clients who aren't AI experts as you do. So I'd kind of like to collect some intelligence from the field, essentially. Like I'll share with you an experience that I've had, and I want to know if it's similar for you. In 2023, when we launched our business, chiefaiofficer.com, I thought we were already late, right? And we launched it in March of 23, and the big pop didn't happen. And I thought, oh, that's okay. Everybody's learning about it. But 2024, it's going to take off. The pop didn't happen. Now, and not even at the beginning of this year, it was accelerating. But now we're in the thick of it, and at least in our business. And it's not because, oh, well, you've got 2 years in. No, it's because the market is catching up to the messaging, like what's happening here. Has your experience, are you encountering more sophisticated or savvy or better questions from your clients than you did 2 years ago?
Yes and no. My sense is that the majority of the people that I work with, that I encounter, are using AI, but not on the level that they could be using it.
Okay. Yeah. Like they're using it for emails or document summaries.
Yeah. And I refer to this very nice model that George Burson came up with. It's called the superworker model. And I expanded a little bit on it. So I see again 5 levels. And level 0 is, well, I've tried AI, but it didn't do what I want, so I won't be using it. Or maybe, just scarcely.
Yeah.
That's level 0.
They'll use it like Google.
Yeah. And then you have the level 1 super workers, which are the people who are using AI on a day-to-day basis regularly to maybe write some text, translate some, make some translations, generate some images, whatever, help to study, whatever, those are the level 1 super workers. So, and then you have level 2, and those are the people who think about the way they are working with AI. So it's already a metacognition here. So what am I doing actually with AI, and how can I optimize it so they start to create, these customized GPTs or the custom GPTs, which were already there, for 2 or 3 years, I think. And are called agents in Copilot, but they are not agentic. And so they start to evaluate the way they work with AI and to a certain degree automate some of the stuff that they do. And then these are the things that anybody can do on an individual level. You don't need any approval for that because we all have ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or whatever running on our phones. You can just do it. And then there's level 3, which is, but maybe I can give my, not only automate some of the things, but give agency to my to the AI tools that I use. If there's something that becomes popular, or all businesses start to, chip in, and now you have agents everywhere, it seems. But real agency is still not there yet.
Yeah, agreed.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
And then we can imagine a world where you will have organizations and teams that work seamlessly with diverse team with human agents and AI agents. And that's level 4. So, and this is an evolution on a scale from working harder, or working hard, better to say, to working smart.
Yeah.
From, working hard and you're paid to work hard. If you're not completely done with the work, you just, put a little extra effort, a little extra time, you work a little bit harder and you're getting there. And this is changing to working smarter. And working smarter means that you really think about what you're doing with your work. And so this trajectory, everybody is on at a certain point on this trajectory. So you can ask yourself the question, which level super worker am I? And maybe you're level 1 for some things, and you're level 0 for other things.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is a question. This is a framework that I often use in my workshops as well. And I ask them, my audience, on which level are you? Most of them, they position themselves on level 0 or level 1.
Yeah.
So if that's the long answer to your quick question.
No, it's very helpful. I there's not a lot of people like you and me out there who don't just know the subject, but are actually interacting with people at all skill levels. And I'm always interested, and I think it's important for the audience to hear it too, because I think there's a lot of people that, two things: either they think, I'm using AI, but boy, I'm way behind, because they know enough about it to know how accelerated the advancement is of the technology, or there's people who are using it who think they're way ahead of where they actually are. We talk to executives and they'll say, "Oh, we're already using AI." But that's fantastic. What do you give me some examples? And they're like, "Well, I use it to write emails and summarize documents."
Yeah, that's level 1.
Helpful, certainly. However, it can do more than that. But if you ask them on a scale of, and because we usually do, we say on a scale of 1 to 5, where are you? We don't define like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the fall, we did a lot of training, a lot of free training for executives. And we would always start our training so that we could kind of calibrate the messaging, like, hey, audience, where are you on a scale of 1 to 5? And we used to get a lot of 1s and 2s. And then I noticed in the spring of this year, we started getting more 3s and 4s. And I was like, what does that mean? And what we found out was it wasn't that they were that sophisticated. They self-diagnosed as sophisticated users. So as you're dealing with clients, do you get people who, show up to the training, but they're like, I already know this stuff, even though you and I know that they're just scratching the surface? Or are you finding that people are erring more towards the side of thinking they don't know as much as they do?
Well, the quick answer is that most people do not use AI to its fullest potential. They do the very basic stuff. Yeah? Using a chatbot like ChatGPT or, stuff like that. Never have I encountered a person who is, really proficient in model context protocol implementations.
Yeah.
Never. You know.
I know one guy. Yep.
And it is a whole other level, of course. It's not that it's that difficult when you're really getting into it, but it's on a whole other level. And most people, you have to understand, let's say, let me just say with a clear example. And also, I think I mentioned it in the book somewhere. So there was one at one of the workshops that I ran a couple of months ago. There was this young woman, and she said, "I love my job, and I love my job because it gives me the ability to speak and write in other languages. I love languages, and that's why I applied for this job as being somebody who has a lot of translation work and working with foreign clients and everything." I said, "And now you're telling me that I can do this quicker with AI, but I don't want to do it quicker with AI."
Yeah.
Because then I lose that thing, like going deep into the language and figuring things out.
Something she loves doing.
It's something she loves doing.
Yeah.
Same with developers.
Yeah.
You have all these things like vibe coding and, all these. Yeah, it's everywhere. It seems like, and a lot of developers are being laid off.
Yeah.
But why do you pick that job? Because you love tinkering. You love figuring things out.
Yeah.
That's what you do as a developer.
This is such a big topic. I'm glad you've put so much thought into it and actually have your book coming out. So can you take a second, Steff, and tell us about when the book's going to be released and how the listeners can get access to it?
Yeah, well, imagine that I uploaded it to Amazon today.
Oh, congratulations. It's a big accomplishment.
Yeah. So, but it's not there yet. It has to be reviewed and everything. So I think in a couple of days will be there. But you can go to our website, and it's called thehouseofcoaching.com. So it's not difficult. It will be there.
Yeah. We'll put it in the show notes too.
Yeah, we'll put the link there. So, and then you can just grab the book from Amazon. Yeah. But the link will be on our website. Yeah.
Anybody can put a book together today in ChatGPT, and this plays right into what we've been talking about, is that authenticity.
This wasn't written with ChatGPT or.
Yeah. I'm sure, and like that you used it as an ideation partner and stuff like that for sure. But the best books that I'm finding on AI are from people that I know. They locked themselves in a hotel room every weekend for 2 months and just worked on the book. And yes, they had AI there, but they weren't like, here's a mega prompt, write my book. Oh, I'm publishing tomorrow. These were books that were that level of authenticity that you're talking about, including the intuition, including the critical thinking, including the context switching of how I think about things. Like all of those things come through, and that's what makes them of interest and successful to the audience.
If we still have some couple of minutes, I would just share the story quickly, how the book got developed. So imagine I'm doing a workshop. I'm confronted with these stories, these real human concerns. And then I drive back home or to another, gig, and I'm reflecting, and I'm thinking about, the questions that I got, and the answers that I gave, that most of the time are not perfect answers either. Yeah. But I want to give the best, and to bring out the best with my clients. So I'm thinking a lot about, and then I put up ChatGPT or Gemini on my phone, and I just chat.
Yes.
I had this, and it gets back to me with some, and that's the ideation part. And the nice things is that all these chats are being saved in ChatGPT, and then I can just after a couple of days, look into it and just pull some things together. And that's how the book came into existence, and it's been a work from years, and from reflecting on what the things were that I noticed with people and business owners and office workers, and entrepreneurs and and people working in care and from every, part of the landscape. And then I started to put the model together.
Innovation, as you referenced earlier. You came up with something that, from all of those experiences, started to get shell.
And I wanted something that was useful, that people could really put into practice.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea for business owners that are on this to, by the time this episode comes out, you can probably find it on Amazon. But if you're looking to certainly continue on the AI journey with the implementation of the tools in your business and that sort of thing, but at some point, your business is going to be quote unquote AI-ified. And the thing that is going to help you remain to differentiate when every other business in your competition is also AI-ified is going to be this framework of the 5 ideas of anti-being replaced. So as a business owner, I would suggest that you think about what we've talked about today. I would encourage you to get the book and then start thinking about, you can use ChatGPT to help you, of course, but start thinking about how can I introduce these concepts into our product, our customer experience, our user interface on our website. Like, what can I do? And I do think that, Steff, you're spot on with this stuff. If you pull that off as a business and you're using AI, you are going to be one of those businesses that isn't a casualty of what's happening and honestly with what's coming.
Yeah. So it is not a question of if, and not even when. It's now.
Yeah,
it's happening. Yeah. It's just what. It's a question of what. What can you do right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic thing. So, houseofcoaching.com is where you can find more information about what Steff and her team are doing with clients, helping them upskill and innovate and transform with AI. That's also where you'll be able to find her new release, Being Replaced, which we discussed on the podcast today. So, Steff, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm honestly, congratulations on getting a book out that wasn't AI generated. That's a big accomplishment. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It was my honor to be on your show.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode. In the meantime, keep using AI. Thanks for tuning in to Using AI at Work. Don't forget to subscribe for more conversations about how to use AI at work. And a special thank you to our sponsor, Chief AI Officer, for empowering businesses with AI education and training. Visit their website for a free AI readiness assessment and AI strategy guide to help you get started using AI at work. That's www.chiefaiofficer.com. Special thanks to our producer, Evan DeSaulnier, for making this episode possible. Follow us on Twitter at the handle Using AI at Work, and visit www.usingaiatwork.com for free resources to help you harness AI in your role.